All right, guys, we've got a new article regarding the full breakdown of the EA Sports College Football 2024 game that we expect to launch next July. It says everything we know about EA Sports College Football 24, this coming via a 247 Sports article. And it says, information has been scarce since EA Sports College Football was announced in February of last year, but development has ramped up entering the final calendar year of what is expected to be a nearly 3-year development process. Sources close to the project told 247 Sports a launch date of July 2023 is circled on the calendar, and the time-consuming process of acquiring photo, video, and audio assets from 130-plus FBS schools to guide game designers is winding down, according to emails obtained at several universities via open record requests filed by 247 Sports. Meanwhile, on-air talent from ESPN are in the process of recording. So that's probably Kirk Herbstreit, I would guess, Chris Fowler as well. I think those are going to be the top two guys that are the on-air talent for this game. Two sources close to EA Sports told 247 Sports. And then it says the biggest hurdle on the horizon, however, is the monstrous task of securing the NIL rights of hundreds of players as EA Sports leans into making the game as realistic as possible. Still, there are concerns. What happens if only a small fraction of players agree to be a part of the game, which isn't going to happen, and they show it right here. The good news is those clamoring to play as their favorite players is that many college players are just as big, if not bigger, fans of the NCAA football franchise. And even if they're not fans, it makes so much more sense with NIL if you are a player to have yourself in the game. Because I've seen a number of times, whether it's Madden, whether it's, whatever video game, where people don't even know certain players, then they play as them and they become fans of that players, which will then help the players' NIL situation because they become more popular because of the game, because they're getting more fans from people playing as them. Overall, any agent will tell the player, you want to be in this game. So 99% of the players are going to want to be in this game no matter what. That's the good news in terms of the NIL hurdle. The game sells itself. It helps the players gain more popularity. And obviously, we're all very hyped up. It's a major return after a massive hiatus. A poll was done for more than 24 players at schools within Power 5 conferences conducted by 247, and it revealed an overwhelming desire to be included in the game. Money was an issue only for one player polled. So it looks like they only polled about 30 players total, but only one had a major problem with being included in the game without getting a monetary return, which again, it makes so much sense. The game sells itself. It's going to help these players' NIL situation because they're going to get more popular from people playing as them. So we should get real players. And then there was one concern that what if one big-time player opted out? Guys, I think what they would do is they would just make a fake player that's extremely similar. Like, let's say Caleb Williams says, I'm not doing it if I'm not getting paid. There's NIL issues, whatever. You could just make USC's quarterback Cam Williams and give him the exact same attributes as Caleb Williams. And then if you wanted to do a dynasty mode, you could literally go in, edit his name to Caleb Williams. That's all you have to do with something like that. So as long as a vast majority of the players are on board with being included in the game, this should be no major issue. The only problem is if you have to make a bunch of, fake players, that's a big issue. But if there's just a few, it's very easy to get around that by creating a player that's very like the real life player. And if, the user wanted to edit it and change Cam Williams to Caleb Williams, because again, I'm guessing Caleb Williams wants to be in the game. I'm just using him as an example. It could be anyone. It says still there is a long runway available for EA Sports to maneuver before it launches the game. The initial roster for a July release does not have to be ready until early to mid-June, a source told 247 Sports. EA is also expected to update rosters via downloadable updates for the game from July 2023 through July 2024. The frequent updates is unclear on the roster. So, yeah, we're going to need those updates with the transfer portal. Definitely, we're seeing so much roster turnover. It's going to have to be a rapid thing, hopefully monthly updates for the rosters. Players who initially opt out of the game but later decide to opt in during the season could be included in updates. I think the updates are going to be for the transfer portal mainly. That's what I think the updates are going to be for. And then it says, it also prompts the question, how will EA handle the roster if a team star quarterback refuses to be in the game? And guys, you can see it says they could possibly create a fake player with few connections as possible I wonder how that would work. Maybe, I guess they can't make a Cam Williams if Caleb Williams doesn't want to be in the game. But theoretically, if you're there's ways to get around it. I guess you would have to look at the legal side of it, and if you do make a player that is basically the same exact player but just change his name, I don't know if you can do that. There might be some legal issues with it, but overall, the vast majority of these guys are going to want to be included in this game. And then it says, meanwhile, it's a mad dash to the finish line for the developer. EA was still attempting in July to secure assets from FBS schools to guide its stadium designs for the game, according to emails obtained by 247 Sports in an open records request at Arkansas State University. I love that they requested, I'm guessing they requested it at a number of schools, and Arkansas State was the one that gave them the records, and EA Sports is asking every FBS school, including Arkansas State. That's a massive job to design all of these stadiums. Arkansas State Stadium, all of the FBS teams. It is a lot, and James Madison now included, so they should be in there. And then it also says EA began requesting photos of stadiums and uniforms and audio of chants, band songs, and cheers in early 2021. Saying in a quote, stadiums are our most complex, costly, and time-intensive assets to build, so we are starting with those first. And then it says the game is being built on the Madden engine, which is not surprising at all. The major issue, we don't want this to be a Madden carbon copy 2.0 where they're so obsessed with Ultimate Team. If you want to play Ultimate Team, go play Madden. Okay, what this game needs to be focused on, dynasty mode and team building, roster building, and I would love for EA Sports to partner with 247 Sports and incorporate the 247 Sports composite to where we can recruit 5 stars and it's lined up exactly. Obviously, you can't use high school recruits in the game, but you can use fake players and make it similar, and you need to invest a significant amount of time in developing accurate recruiting system. The one thing that's so unique about these college football games is the ability to build up a smaller university like a James Madison, like a, Bowling Green or whoever, build them into a superpower over time. That's the unique thing. So we need the recruiting and the ability to have really elite recruiting servers there. There's a lot of time that needs to be invested into recruiting, in my opinion. It says EA Sports College Football is built on the Madden engine, but fans should expect tweaks to gameplay, much like previous iterations of the NCAA football franchise in the 2000s and 2010s. The game design, atmosphere, and unique traditions of each school is primarily what EA Sports will lean into for the game. With that said, the game isn't simply a reskin of the Madden game. The cover art, so this was kind of weird. It says EA has not yet decided how to handle the cover art for its game. Past iterations of NCAA football usually feature one player, usually those who exhausted their eligibility or entered the NFL draft the previous season. After a 10-year absence, perhaps the cover should honor past Heisman Trophy winners and other superstars such as Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow by including them on the cover. Possibly, but also unlikely. Yeah, I don't understand that. So NCAA Football 24 comes out and Manziel is on the cover. I don't get how that would work. You'd want someone more modern. I understand it's tough, man. Like Lamar Jackson was never on a cover, Joe Burrow, but we'd want someone more modern than that. And then it says several fan favorite features expected to return. EA Sports has kept much of its game modes under wraps, but we all expected this. Dynasty mode and Road to Glory modes are going to be returning, which is unique to NCAA Football 24. And again, I think the major thing they need to upgrade is the recruiting database. In my opinion, it's so unique to college football, the ability to build programs. Throwback uniforms, helmets, stickers will be included in the game. EA Sports made an effort to include unique helmet stickers for teams in the game, and it's building a library of throwback uniforms, which are huge hits with fans. One school provided EA Sports more than 3,500 assets to assist designers, according to correspondence obtained by 247 Sports via a open records request. So guys, that is the latest breakdown. It is expected to be a July 2023 release. We're getting Dynasty mode, we're getting Road to Glory, we're getting all the FBS teams, and the NIL thing is the major hurdle for EA Sports. Hopefully there is an incorporation of the players, which I think we're going to get most of them. There were a few teams that were holding out, trying to stick up for their players and saying they didn't want to be included in the game. I think Clemson was one and Notre Dame was another. I expect those teams to fall in line. It would be such a waste, for Notre Dame not to be included in the game. It's not like people aren't going to buy the game because Notre Dame's not in it. It's either be relevant or don't be relevant. If you don't want to be relevant, then you're not going to be in the game. But all of the FBS schools should fall in line, and I think they're just doing it for posturing, honestly. I don't know. I was just referring to something where there were 10 schools that said they weren't going to be in the game because, NIL, you're making money off of the players without them getting anything. But it looks like the players most of these players, they know it's going to benefit them. It costs them nothing. They're only going to get more fans when users play as their favorite players or play as a school. And they see these players and they become fans of them in real life. That's how it works. So this game, once again, mid-July 2023. They're working on it. Hopefully, it will be amazing. It's not surprising at all. It's the Madden engine. It is EA Sports, of course. The only issue is we could really, quite frankly, just completely do without any Ultimate Teams. I do not care, playing as Eddie George on Ohio State. I want the ability to have an updated recruiting system. That's all I want. I want an elite recruiting system to where that's realistic, that updates the player rankings, the recruiting rankings, stuff like that. Personally, I think they really need to invest into that and really focus on roster building in Dynasty mode and building up smaller universities. That is the most unique thing when it relates to the NCAA EA Sports franchise. So the game is expected to be called NCAA football, college football 2024. It's gonna it does the year early thing. So when it gets released in July of 2023, it's gonna be called 2024 as well. So guys, that's all the latest intel from this article. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.